Have you ever wondered why you keep attracting the same chaos? It's one failed relationship after the other, or maybe you're in one relationship now and it's the same painful cycle again and again, no matter how hard you try. Well, there are 5 toxic relationship dynamics that you could be stuck in, and there's a very good chance that you're stuck in multiple versions of them with the same person. If you stick around to the very end, I will show you exactly what it takes to heal and change these relationship dynamics. The first toxic relationship is the perfectionist versus the spontaneous rebel. If you're the perfectionist, you like to keep everything organized. You like to plan everything to the T, everything by the hour. Maybe it's 9 a.m. yoga, 11 a.m. coffee, 1 p.m. workout. Your partner, on the other hand, wakes up at 10, cancels plans with you, and last minute plans a concert with his friends. And immediately when this starts to happen at every moment, something inside you tightens up. You might have racing thoughts because plans for you equal safety. Not having plans equals chaos, equals danger. And you push harder when your partner does this and breaks the plans. You might insist, "We agreed to do yoga at 9 a.m. and they respond by dismissing your feelings. They say, "Live a little, let loose." All this does is boil you up inside because you learned as a child that chaos was danger. And the only way that you could have a little ounce of safety was to plan everything so that everything was anticipated and nothing could surprise you, because surprises meant danger, meant pain, perhaps abandonment, abuse, many things. Your partner, on the other hand, probably grew up in a household where iron fist control was the standard, and the only way they could breathe to escape suffocation from this control was to rebel against it, not plan anything, and constantly chase freedom. When it comes to the perfectionist versus the spontaneous rebel, you both are doing opposite strategies trying to achieve the same goal, which is safety. You might use structure and planning to get that safety. They get safety through freedom. But the fighting that happens in this kind of relationship leads to the next toxic dynamic. This is the second one. It is the hero versus the dependent or victim. For example, the bills are due. You're in charge of everything. You pay it all off. You take care of everything financially. You structure both of your lives. And your partner might give you some surface level gratitude. They might send you a heart emoji thanking you, but it doesn't seem to be very satisfying. And they never seem to have their life together. Always making mistakes, forgetting things, and as a result, every time they drop the ball, you're there picking it up again and again. They're in emotional distress, you have to be there to fix them and rescue them. They're irresponsible, you're there to pay the bills. Some part of you likes feeling like the hero that can save the day, but another part of you feels absolutely drained, and it gets worse every time you see them spend their money on something that seems irresponsible. You're making sure the bills are paid, they're blowing money on gambling, tanning, excessive drinking, entertainment, and other irresponsible activities. You're constantly left being the responsible one out of the two of you. The truth is that secretly you like to feel needed. The problem is that it enables them to not learn from their mistakes, and they stay stuck, not progressing and growing as a person. And if this dynamic goes back and forth again and again, eventually feeling drained and tired will turn into resentment and anger, and there's going to be someone to blame. And this leads to the third toxic dynamic, the blamer versus the denier. At this point, you might explode at them. "We're broke because of you," or fill in the blank, "We're in this bad situation because you are so irresponsible and you can't deal with your own shit." And they'll just do what they've always done, which is dismiss your feelings. They might attack you back and say that you're overreacting. You yell louder and they shut down even more. You blame and attack them, feeling justified for how they wronged both of you. And they dismiss it, blow off responsibility, deny it, and pretend that it was never their problem to begin with. Yours and their reaction are both a response to an unhealed childhood. You took on guilt growing up as a burden that you had to fix. They grew up drowning in criticism and respond to it by being cold, distant, and dismissive. Both of you carry shame. You might blame them for that feeling of shame. They just suppress it and ignore it, which also leads into the next toxic dynamic, number 4, which is the anxious versus the avoidant. Maybe your partner starts growing distant from the fighting. They pull away, they get quiet, they become less responsive. You, on the other hand, sees this as danger, as a sign that they could leave you. And so you start to text them a lot. "Are you okay? Is everything okay?" An hour goes by, no response. You get more flustered, more overwhelmed. And you chase them even harder, and they pull away even more. The more you chase, the more they run away. You send them a wall of blue text, and for them, it's silence or one-word answers. And while this is happening, you're saying secretly to yourself that if they leave, I will be abandoned and I am unlovable. For them, their internal dialogue is, if I answer, I'll drown and be suffocated. Both of you are reacting to each other from a childhood of unprocessed pain. You grew up having to chase your caregivers, your parents, maybe it was your mom or your dad, always wanting the love that you didn't get from them. They ran from engulfing, controlling parents. The painful reality is that once again, you are both trying to seek safety. You are trying to seek safety through more closeness and reassurance. They seek safety in more space. The last toxic relationship dynamic is the narcissist versus the empath. Either of you could be one or the other, but one of them seeks control, domination, to be in power. The empath is constantly attuning to the other person's emotions, because if they could just feel and absorb everything that the narcissist wants, then they can feel safe through the closeness, abandoning themselves in the process. For the narcissist, there's never enough that they can take. And for the empath, it feels like there's never enough to give. The narcissist has extreme emotional waves up and down, maybe unpredictably bursting out into sadness or anger. You might be the empath on edge, walking on eggshells, wondering if you did anything wrong, and how can you fix it? Constantly at the whim of the narcissist's emotions. And here's the thing about these toxic relationship dynamics. Pretty much everyone has different flavors of all of them. You might more identify with the anxious versus the avoidant, or the narcissist versus the empath, or you might find very often for most people, it's a mix of all the above. The first baby step is just being aware that you're in the cycle, and that has nothing to do with the present moment, that you are both replaying childhood patterns. You're both replaying behaviors and beliefs that you adopted and learned from childhood. If you want to stop repeating these behavior patterns, because the truth is that regardless of whether you're on one side or the other in each of these dynamics, neither one is at fault or to be blamed. They're just unconscious patterns. What's more important is what you do to break the pattern and what you have to heal inside yourself to become someone that's more secure and healed. In order to be that person that is more secure and not be stuck in these dynamics, you have to begin feeling your emotions, because every single one of these dynamics, the behavior is trying to cope and avoid pain. For example, the anxious one that is always controlling and clinging and trying to push for closeness and communication is trying to avoid abandonment. The person that is avoidant is trying to avoid the pain of being engulfed, controlled, losing themselves. And really in each of these dynamics, they're both trying to avoid shame, right? So the avoidance of the pain is what creates these relationship dynamics. So first one is identifying it, to be aware of it. The second part is learning to start to feel and face the very pain that you've been coping with and avoiding for a lifetime. Whether that's shame, low self-worth, abandonment, you have to learn to feel through them. Now that might seem very counterintuitive. Let me put it to you this way. You see, the body that knows how to heal physically knows how to heal emotionally through trauma, by feeling. Just like when you cut your hand, the blood rushes to the hand, the cells go to it to try to repair the cut. Same thing if you break your bone. When you put the bone together, your body will automatically start to send the minerals to fix and repair the bone. Or even when you get sick, it will create white blood cells. All this is happening automatically. Your body also knows how to heal emotional trauma. It starts by getting better at feeling your emotions, because the better you get at feeling your emotions, they start to dissipate, then the less you'll have to do these toxic behaviors to cope with the pain. And the last part that's really important is the subconscious part of you, that's the inner child. There's a little boy or a little girl that's locked inside you that holds the belief that is not good enough, that it can be abandoned, that it can be shamed, that's responsible for everyone else's emotions and problems and so on, right? These are all old beliefs from childhood. That part needs to be reparented and reprogrammed. And that starts by feeling your emotions. So at the end of the day, yes, maybe sometimes you have to leave a toxic relationship, but if you don't heal, you're going to be in another one. The most important thing to realize is that to change the toxic relationship patterns, regardless if you're one or all of the 5 that I just mentioned, is to begin changing yourself. And you change yourself, you're going to change who you're attracted to, or even the relationship that you're in right now, because you can change together. And that's the story of my wife and I. We were both everything in this list, painfully so. And we healed and we did the work, the individual work on ourselves, and in the relationship we grew and became better and more secure. Real quick, drop a comment right now and let me know what you want to watch in the next video, the topic that you want me to discuss, the pressing questions that you want answered, and I will see you there.